Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Season 2 is here, and over the past couple of days since the season dropped, I have been diving into Warzone gameplay, testing out all the guns, figuring out what the new setups are, what the absolute meta is here in Warzone 2 Season 2, and today we are breaking down the top 10 best loadouts to be running in Warzone in general. You could use these on Al Mazrah, you can use these on Ashika Island. They're just the overall top 10 loadouts. Now, before we go in and look at the individual guns in every single class here, I do want to go over the perks and equipment. This is going to be the same on all my setups, same on Ashika Island for Resurgence, same on Al Mazrah. For equipment, smokes and semtexes are kind of my go-to right now. Semtexes obviously just super reliable for the explosives. Smokes though, you can make so many nice plays because of these, whether it's trying to heal in a very, open area that can provide you some cover. It can help you with rotations. They're just super solid in this game, honestly. Then for my custom perk package here, I'll actually go ahead and hide the face cam real quick. For this, I end up going for Overkill, Double Time, Resupply, and Quick Fix. Quick Fix for the ultimate perk is just so clutch in those certain situations where you get that kill and it gives you your health back and you win another gunfight because of that. I find that happening a lot, honestly. Resupply obviously is solid for getting more nades and equipment out of that. Double Time for the better attack spread, and then of course Overkill because we want our two primaries on every single setup. So just a heads up, that's the same on every single loadout. Now the first combination here is the RPK and the MP5. Two great choices. RPK caught a nerf with the update. It was not a severe nerf whatsoever. The thing is still great for medium to long range, and frankly my setup here really hasn't changed all that much outside of just being more built towards control. So still running the AMOP V4. We got the furthest eye position and the faster ADS on the tune for that. Demo X2 rear grip for the better idle stability, recoil steadiness for the tunes, and the general control that it offers just by default, obviously. High velocity ammo going to make it feel more consistent over range with the better velocity and better hit reg, basically, because that's sort of an inadvertent effect of that. Edge 47 underbarrel is going to give you all the same benefits of Ripper, just with less cons, so I'm running that on pretty much all my medium to long range guns now, honestly. We go for better idle stability and recoil stabilization on those tunes. And then of course I'm rocking the Sakin Tread 40 now, just because suppressors are kind of useless. You can just get better stats by combining things elsewhere, which is obviously what we're doing. And this of course is going to be huge for the recoil and make this thing just feel extra easy. Obviously with that nerf you want to be able to land more shots now because that damage is going to be a bit worse, so this will help compensate for that quite literally. Better control, better stabilization on the tunes there. RPK, despite the nerf, still absolutely one of the top choices here. Then when it comes to the MP5, we saw some adjustments to several other SMGs, bringing them more in line with one another, including the Fennec, for instance, and the MP5 didn't have any major nerfs happen to it, so it is actually now more competitive because of that. This setup here really just built around speed while also still having some decent control if you have to fight in like those 25 to 40 meter mid-range areas, right? I got the Pulsar barrel up here first, better ADS and movement speed. It hurts your range and control a little bit. That's not really a huge deal for where we want to use this, obviously, though. I tuned for better recoil just to gain some of that back, and then the better ADS speed to make it even snappier. 7 milliwatt laser, and because we can tune these now, I tune for the faster ADS and sprint to fire pretty much all the time whenever I'm using a laser. Lock grip precision underbarrel, better hip fire so we can transition from hip fire to ADS super smoothly. Better recoil pros as well, so it's going to be easy to shoot. I tune for basically better mobility here. The 40 round mag is your standard extended mag. Then I also got the TCG-10 rear grip. This helps out with the control, and then I tune for the inverse there of that faster mobility. So this thing's going to be nice and snappy, and of course perfect to complement any ranged weapons up close. This thing is a fantastic choice. Loadout number 2 is probably my go-to number 1 setup right now in Warzone 2 Season 2. It's a combination of the TAQ-56 and the Vaznev. TAQ-56 medium to long range, it's low recoil. Its TTK isn't like the number 1 greatest in the game, but because it's so easy to use, your realistic TTK is going to be much more in line despite the slightly lower damage here in comparison to, things like the RAAL or the Sakin, maybe. Spoiler alert, little foreshadowing for what's coming later. Vaznev up close, great TTK still within the first, 15 meters or so where you're going to be using an SMG. It competes right there with the Fennec. So TAQ-56 setup here, nothing too crazy. We got the Harbinger suppressor on here. This is a case where I do use the suppressor just because it's already so easy with recoil. You don't really need much out of that, and this will give you that better velocity, range, and recoil all in one, right? So better velocity, slightly better ADS there because smoothness doesn't really matter. Edge 47 underbarrel, yet again, same tunes here, stability and recoil stabilization. I go for high velocity as well, again, for mid to long range fights. This is such a clutch attachment to help out with that velocity and really make things feel more consistent over range. 40 round mag. You could also go for 60 though if you wanted to, just depends on how slow you want the gun to feel, right? Then I also go for the combat grip, better control outright. I tune for even better control and even better stability. So this is one of the more reliable and consistent guns in the game in my opinion. Then for the Vaznev, the perfect option for close range. It is fast, it is snappy, it hits hard as well, especially in the prime SMG range of like 0 to 20 meters, right? So first up here, I got the R7 stock. This is going to be for that better movement in general. I tune for slightly better stability just for some consistency there. You could also go for the aim walking speed if you wanted to. Then I got the better ADS on there too. True TAQ rear grip for that better sprint to fire and ADS. I tuned to maximize those even more. Olay laser, of course, for that snappier ADS and sprint to fire. We're also tuning to maximize these even more as well. We got the shark fin underbarrel, basically no cons, helps out with the stability some, and you can get some free mobility out of this basically by tuning for those. And lastly, I do use a barrel on here. This is not necessary, but I do like the consistency that it brings with the range, extending that a little bit because the drop off here is a bit more noticeable, so that just helps out some there. And frankly, the mobility cons here aren't all that noticeable because of all the other attachments we're using. I tune for the better mobility on this barrel as well, so another fantastic choice for close range. Keep in mind also, you can flip-flop any of the combinations that I'm showcasing here today. Loadout 3, kind of an interesting one, some sort of experimental weapons, if you will. We got the brand new HEMLOCK rifle, and then also the MX9 SMG, another fantastic choice, very easy to use, especially one of the easiest guns in the game, frankly, for close range fights. First up here on the HEMLOCK, this is going to be a very much so low recoil, but not super heavy hitting rifle. Pretty much identical to the TAQ-56 in terms of feel and overall efficiency. It just depends which one you might like more. Personally, I'm more comfortable with the TAQ, but this is another similar choice for mid to long range in that sense. First up here, I got the AMOP V4 furthest eye position, slightly faster ADS per usual. 45 round mag is kind of a bummer that that's only the largest option here. If it had a 60, it'd be even more lethal, but that's what we'll make do with. High velocity ammo on here, yet again, basically same tune for the better velocity and better damage range as well. Edge 47 underbarrel once more, standard tune there, idle stability and stabilization. And once more, we also have the Sakin tread 40. So a very basic setup here, going all out for control, just making this thing super easy to use. And it's going to feel consistent because of that in those medium and long range fights where it, like I said, is going to be used effectively just like the TAQ-56. Then MX9 here, like I said, this is like the lowest recoil SMG. The thing is so simple, so straightforward to use. Also has a decent TTK and great mobility stats as well. Now, 32 round mag, you have to run here. It's the largest option, and that's really what holds this gun back quite a bit in my opinion, but it is what it is. We got the S901 barrel on here that's going to help out with range and movement. So it's like, you know, a win-win there. You're getting both solid pros out of that. And I tune for even better mobility on there as well. Chrono Mini Pro, I hate the iron sights on this thing, so I gotta go for the blue dot, furthest eye position, faster ADS per usual. Behind the face cam here, I've got the C11 riser, and this is gonna help out with movement and mobility. I tune for slightly better stabilization, and then even snappier ADS speed. And lastly, we got the Q900 grip. This is going to be for even better mobility, and I tune to maximize that as well. So this thing is going to be flying, and honestly, it's TTK, pretty competitive as well. Now, as we move on into this next setup here, just a reminder, if you guys are new to the channel, every single day, I got you covered with all things going on in COD, news, updates, loadouts, tips, it's all right here. So feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications. Around 55% of viewers watching are not already subscribed, so we'd love to have you guys join us on the road to 1 million. And if you guys enjoyed this video, or if you find it helpful, let me know by dropping a like on it. Let's try and aim for 2,000 likes on this one. And I do want to give a quick shout out to my friends over at Gamer Advantage. I would not be grinding these seasonal updates like I do if it weren't for these glasses. I'm able to play for longer, create more content all day, every day, and not have the effects of headaches, eye strain, anything like that. And when I go to bed at night, I know I can sleep better because of these as well. Wake up feeling nice and refreshed the next day to continue that grind for you guys, get you guys all the latest details. So if you guys want to get a pair for yourself, code Immortal gets you a nice little discount at checkout. Link for that will be down in the description below. Next up, another super solid loadout combination, and one that is like the king of TTK right now. It's the RAAL, it's the Fennec. Yes, the Fennec got nerfed. It's still very, very good for close range. Nerf was not nearly enough to drop it out of the meta, and the RAAL got a recoil nerf, but it's still super easy to use when you build it like this, which is basically all meant for recoil control, right? So AMOP V4, again, faster ADS, furthest eye position for those tunes. Step 40 rear grip, helping out with the control, gonna make it easier to use. We tune to capitalize that even more. Dune underbarrel here, also going to help out with recoil steadiness and stability, and I tuned to maximize those even more. The Shred CP90 compensator going to help out mainly with vertical, but a bit of horizontal as well, and you can obviously tune to really maximize that off of that. The Rhino barrel is also going to be the best velocity option here, and it's offering control too. So this thing is going to shoot straight. This thing is going to be very heavy hitting. Basically, if you land and connect with your shots with the RAAL, the enemies do not stand a chance. It's just got that slightly slower fire rate. The open bolt delay is really the things keeping this in check, because if those didn't exist, I mean, this thing would be unstoppable, right? Then the Fennec setup going to be the same as update and pre-nerf, honestly. It's just not going to be as effective as it was before. So we got the 7 milliwatt laser. We're tuning to maximize the mobility benefits here, so no surprise there. Lockshot KT85 muzzle, just to keep things controllable and consistent, right? I tuned for the slightly better recoil in this case, just to make it easy. And then also the gun kick control as well. The drop grip here will help out with hipfire accuracy and stability, so we can transition between hipfire and ADS super simply again. We also go for the better mobility on those tunes. 45 round mag, no brainer. You have to run that because the damage per mag. And then lastly, the rubber grip, better ADS and sprint to fire. Again, I do tune for that recoil steadiness just to make it consistent and easy to use, and the better sprint to fire as well. So this thing, it's still going to fry up close. Yes, it got those nerfs, but don't let that deter you from the fact that it's still probably the #1 SMG. Following that, we've got my damage per mag loadout. We got the Minibak and the Sakin LMG. And these two together, I mean, the Sakin's TTK, that's already super competitive and speaks for itself. The Minibak's TTK isn't anything crazy. Like, you're not going to be frying like you would at the Fennec with the Minibak, but you just never have to reload, and that's where this gun thrives. Yes, it's not doing as much damage. It has a slower TTK, but everyone else is going to be stuck reloading. You don't have to. So initially here, it comes stock with that 64 round mag, so that's fantastic. We don't have to waste any attachments on that. I got the True TAQ grip for mobility. We're tuning to capitalize that even more. I got the blue dot here. I don't really like the iron, so that's going to help out some for the eye position and faster ADS. Olay laser to keep it nice and snappy, better sprint to fire, better ADS on there as well. I do run the back 9 barrel just because it is going to give you range, and the damage drop off on this thing is not that great. Like I said, it's got a slower TTK, so we might as well try and help out where we can, right? I tuned for the better recoil and ADS there. And then again, I got the Lockshot KT85, same deal as on the Fennec. This time though, because this is a bit easier to use, I do go for the slightly faster ADS and then the gun kick control instead. So yes, this thing gonna kill a little bit slower, but over time when you're fighting in, squad fights, it's gonna give you a nice advantage because that magazine size. Then the Sakin, I mean, this thing is low recoil, great damage, great range. I cannot say enough good things about this gun. I really do enjoy it. So AMOV V4 here yet again, slightly faster ADS, furthest eye position, rinse and repeat, I'm broken record at this point. The G305 rear grip is for control. I'm tuning to maximize that even more. Edge 47 again, same basic tunes here that we've had on the other builds as well. Sakin Shred 40 again, rinse and repeat with this one too. You can see how this meta is kind of trending with mid to long range weapons. They're all built relatively similar. Then I also go for the Silver Series barrel just because this is going to give you a decent amount of velocity and range and control, and really just allow this to feel even more consistent in those long range fights. So overall, this thing is simple and easy to use, but has a really good payoff with what it brings in terms of damage and TTK. Next up, I of course try and feature all the new weapons in these top 10 loadout videos, even if they're maybe not the most reliable, and so I do want to have a KV Broadside set up for you in this video, and I'm pairing this with the newly buffed M13, which might be the #1 new rifle in all honesty. It got a buff and it is feeling spicy. So here, I'm going for the AMOV V4 for the eye position, faster ADS. 60 round mag, kind of a must have. This fire rate's kind of nutty. You don't want to run out of ammo. Edge 47, same deal, copy and paste tunes basically, and same deal with the Sakin Shred 40, but obviously it's going to make it super easy to use. And personally, I prefer the Echelon barrel over high velocity ammo, but you could go either or there. This is going to help out with that range, velocity, and control yet again, and I tune to maximize that range and that steadiness. We've talked about the M13 a bit and probably will continue to do so throughout this season because this thing is good. Then when it comes to the KV Broadside, I mean, it's good within 7 meters, and that's about it. But if you're pushing buildings, this thing can be pretty good for that, especially because you can spam it. Here, I got the True TAQ rear grip. It's going to help out with the sprint to fire and ADS. That's obviously huge in terms of sprint to fire for a shotgun, so I'm tuning to maximize that. I got the stockless stock here, basically just for all the mobility benefits and also the hip fire control. I go for the canted laser, that nice hybrid ADS and hip fire, just makes it feel nice and aggressive. I do tune that for that better sprint to fire and ADS as well. I go for the range 12 barrel. This will help out with that damage range. Maybe give me the chance to, 2 or 3 shot at a slightly further distance. I tune to increase that damage range and help out that that strafe speed. And lastly, I go for the improved choke here from Bryson. Tighter pellet spread, better damage range yet again, and I tune to maximize the sprint to fire and the damage range even more. So for a shotgun, it's all right in overall, practicality. It's not something I'd use all the time, but again, want to make sure we get those new weapons in here. Moving on here, again, I've got the RAAL, so we don't need to go over this setup again. Of course, I want to pair this with some good options here, and this is another complimentary TTK loadout, one that's going to fry. Obviously, we got the RAAL for mid to long range, same setup as before, but then here I've got the Chimera, aka the Honey Badger for the close range, so you are doubling up on rifle ammo, but if you want to kill quick, this is the loadout, right? Like, these two options are phenomenal. This can hang with the Fennec up close, and it has a better range than it. So in terms of, close to mid range, look no further than the Chimera. Here, Ruin Flash, rear grip for the better mobility. I tune for the better sprint to fire and some recoil just to keep it consistent, 45 round mag just for those squad fights. Edge 47 yet again here. I actually tune for the inverse though now for the better mobility, so keep that in mind. Sakin Tread 40, I tune for the better recoil all around, and it's going to give you those benefits by default as is. Then I love the Vorpal barrel just because it's going to give you range and movement, so again, that win-win situation there. I tune for the even better range and recoil, but you could also go for the inverse if you wanted to. Just depends on if you want the slightly better range or the slightly better mobility here, but this paired with that RAAL setup is going to work great, and like I said, it's one of my favorite TTK loadouts in the entire game. Another mix and match one, if you will. We're sort of repeating the RPK here, so once again, same exact setup from before, same tuning as before, no need to go over that again, but this time I'm pairing it with the 74U, another double rifle ammo setup, but it just works. The 74U for close range, much like the Chimera, is fantastic. Now, the Chimera, in my opinion, is a little bit more comfortable and it's got slightly better stats, but the 74U, some players just prefer it, and there's no real wrong answer with these. I mean, both of these guns do work well. Here, 45 round mag, basic extended mag, X2 rear grip, better control, and I tune for the inverse of ADS and sprint to fire. I also got the R7 stock on here that's going to help out with that mobility as well, and I tune to maximize that even more so. Olay laser for that snappier ADS and better sprint to fire. We're tuning to increase both of those here too. Then lastly, B209 barrel. This is going to help out with movement speed, and obviously for a close range build like what we're using here, you want to capitalize on that better ADS and slightly better control just to keep things consistent on that tune. Really good rifle for, sniper support, just like the Chimera is. You can test out both and just see which one you prefer. Then the final two setups that I got here are kind of experimental ones, if you will. The RAPP has a fantastic TTK. It's just kind of crazy when it comes to the control and its range. Then the MP7 is just a nice consistent SMG. It's not my favorite. It's not my least favorite. It's just a middle of the pack gun that works for what it needs to be. So here in this case, basically just trying to build out for that maximum mobility and good control. So here I got these Schlager, Soldier, rear grip, better ADS, and sprint to fire, and of course the tunes are going to maximize that for close range. I got the RXT stock, better mobility in general here. I do go for the better stability here, again, just to keep things consistent per usual. Then also the better ADS. 7 milliwatt laser, again, same deal here for all our close range builds, better ADS and sprint to fire on those tunes. The drop grip, yet again, for that better hip fire to ADS transition with that accuracy there. Tune for the better mobility, and once again, the Lockshot KT85 just to make this gun easy to use. I tune for the better ADS and gun kit control on this. Just a nice, reliable SMG, not broken, but not, useless. And then for the RAPP, like I said, really the only thing you gotta factor in here is that fire rate and the recoil. If you're landing your shots, this thing will fry. So AMOT V4, furthest eye position, faster ADS on those tunes. The TCG10 rear grip, yet again, for that better control. We're tuning to maximize that. You definitely got to run the 100 round mag here. If you don't use this, you're reloading way too much, and it's not a fast reload, so you don't want to be doing that. And then of course we got the combination of the Edge 47 and the Sakin Tread 40. Once again, no surprises here, same tuning as what we've seen on the other builds as well. Basically just increasing that control to the maximum it can be so that we can have a nice and reliable setup here. And then our final loadout, same MP5 setup that we covered earlier, so again, no need to go over and go through that again, but I'm actually trying out the TAQ-M. This got a buff with Season 2 that made it shoot faster, which is a huge deal for me because the TAQ-M's fire rate sucked. It's still not that crazy, but it's better, and that's progress, right? Baby steps, baby steps. They also buff the damage a bit, and this thing already has crazy damage, so you can get some very, very fast kills. The downside here, though, is that it does use sniper ammo, so you run out of ammo a little bit, but if you're landing your shots, this thing can actually have the potential to fry. I'd recommend trying it out and just seeing if it feels right for you. If not, of course, we got plenty of other choices. Schlager 3.4 times here. I like this for my semi-auto guns. Furthest eye position, faster ADS on those tunes. Combat rear grip for the better control. If I'm gonna try and spam it, in a potential situation like that, you might as well go for those control benefits. Tuning to maximize that. I go for the 15 round mag. You could also go for 20. You're gonna need an extended mag regardless. It just depends on if you're okay with being a bit slower. No wrong answer here, honestly. High velocity ammo, no surprise here. We just want to be more consistent over mid to long range. I tune to maximize that. And then also the Edge 47 I run on here yet again. Stability is a huge deal, especially for semi-auto guns like this, so that'll help out some there. It's definitely not an easy weapon to use. It has a lot of cons in terms of its fire rate and its ammo supply, but if you land your shots, the thing is ridiculous. And that being said, those are the top 10 best loadouts to be running here in Warzone 2 Season 2. That's going to wrap things up for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you're new here, feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications so you can always stay up to date. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy. Have an awesome rest of your day. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.